This is Brian Young, Super Bowl champ, 49er. You're listening to Matt and Dexter on The Grueling Truth.
Hey, welcome everybody to another edition of the 49ers Weekly Show on the Grueling Truth Radio Network, brought to you by Gridiron Mo. Gridiron Mo is a new interactive football app that lets you call what you think an offense or defense will do in a live NFL game and compete against others around the country. Check it out at gridironmo.com or thegruelingtruth.net. I'm your host, Matt Andruscavage, and I'm here with former 49ers running back, Super Bowl 29 champion, Dexter Carter.
Great to be with you again, Matt, for another great show.
That's right. We're going to talk a little 49er football. It's definitely a kind of a down week, no doubt about it. Not going to sugarcoat anything. This was brutal. But there were some things to take away from it, but I don't know. It was just one of those last couple of weeks of just been difficult road trip, and it's been tough to watch, but we'll remain positive and see what happens.
Yeah, it was a difficult go for the 49ers this week, and a lot of, it's very, very tough, man, trying to figure out, what the quarterback situation is and the receivers, rising to the occasion. But at the end of the day, Seattle just beat us up and down the field, but life goes on. Got a big challenge this week. With Dallas, a game that they could win and should win, but, Dallas is on a run, with the rookie quarterback. So we'll see what happens. The week before, Arizona. So 2 big weeks coming up for the 49ers.
Oh, no doubt about it. We'll start with the Seattle game, and then we'll get right into what you were saying about Dallas, because things could definitely be up this week. But getting back to the oh man, it was not pretty. I think the thing that we talked about last week was for the 49ers to have a chance in this game and to just look competitive. The biggest thing that had to happen was the defensive line had to take control of the line of scrimmage. Same with the offensive line, and just the offense just had to be a little efficient and kind of keep Russell Wilson off the field. Didn't have to necessarily score a lot of points because he didn't expect that. But the defense had to show up, and right out of the gate, Doug Baldwin torches the 49ers for a deep pass on the second play of the game, and then Christian Michael runs 41 yards for a touchdown. Immediately, it's 7-0, and it was a rough going.
Yeah, and the 49ers knew that Baldwin was going to be a challenge. He's on a record pace, one of the top receivers in the league, and he showed that in the first, as you said, right there early in the ball game. So, that was a burst of the bubble right there. So just very, very tough, go for the 49ers there on defense. So, and then, obviously offense had their challenge, but we'll get into that too. But, yeah, Baldwin definitely, put a needle in the bubble early on.
Oh, the real bad thing about what happened early in the game was the defensive line was just getting run over by what I believe is to be one of the bottom 2 or 3 offensive lines in football. Seattle just kind of woke up. They're at home, a little bit more energy. They know they've been struggling offensively, only putting up like 12 points or 13 points in 2 weeks. And so you knew they were going to rise to the occasion and give a good effort. But it really was up to the defense to take control of that take control of that line of scrimmage. And it just didn't happen. And the Seahawks were able to get up on the Niners early. They got up 14-0 very quickly. And you don't just go into Seattle. I don't care if you're one of the elite quarterbacks. You don't just go into Seattle and start putting points on the board.
Absolutely. Seattle came out playing inspired, playing at home, and they played like, they were protecting their home territory. So the 49ers had that big challenge ahead of them. But yeah, Seattle definitely played differently than they had played. And, that game is always going to be a big-time rivalry. And the home team really wants to take advantage of the home field advantage, and Seattle definitely did that, this past Sunday.
That's right. So, we'll get into a little bit here. This is the part that really frustrates 49er fans. You're watching this game, and you get into a 14-0 hole, and, well, there's opportunities where Gabbert had protection, and there just is no challenge given to those defensive backs. I mean, I realize that Seattle has probably the best safety tandem in Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas, one of the top 2 or 3 corners in Richard Sherman, and that secondary is it's well coached, it's very talented, and it's very hard to pass on. But you still have to challenge them. Look at the Super Bowl year in '94. Some teams still had to throw on Dion. You can't just let the defense just take over the game and never challenge them. You have to try to make a challenge, and that's what we failed to see that. Whether it be the play calling or just Blaine Gabbert being timid, there was no challenge given. And so it's like you got to give your receivers at least a chance to make a play.
Yeah, that's true. And, I don't know if that was a great analogy with the challenging of Dion, because not many challenged Dion, and when they did, they paid the price. But
it's true.
But that secondary for Seattle is, as you said, very, very good as a group, as was the 49er secondary back then. But whether it was the protection, whether it was Gabbert, but it surely was a combination of Gabbert and the receiving core. They just didn't have it together and couldn't have challenged Seattle's secondary if they tried. But as you said, you got to at least try it. Maybe you get a pass interference,
Yep.
But you got to be able to, try to make a play on the ball at its highest point, and that didn't take place. And when it doesn't take place, you don't give your offense a chance, to make a difference. So they just put themselves in a tough situation, and become one-dimensional. So that really kind of was the writing on the wall for the 49ers.
Yep, exactly, because Carlos Hyde and the offensive line failed to create running lanes, and what really happened was they faced 3 and out so many times, and it would be like 3rd and 8, and it would be like just a 3-yard pass. I realize we're going to see that sometimes because Seattle was able to put pressure, and they were able to, cover the field very well. And so it's not like there's all kinds of places to go with the ball. But to me, what's real frustrating is when you sign a guy like Torrey Smith to a $40 million plus contract, who's one of the best deep threats in the NFL, you have to send him deep on some plays at least a couple times a game. He has such great speed. You've got to give him a chance to make a play. And so we've got to see if the Niners are going to get back on track, if they're going to compete, they've got some talent out there. They just have to try to make some of these plays. And especially if you get down early, then you got to start being creative and at least give your offense a chance. It just seemed too conservative out there.
That's true. And, but we saw that during the preseason. Now, when the season started, I saw the receiving corps come alive. But the consistency wasn't there. And if you can't have that consistency there against a team like Seattle, your offense isn't going to be very, very productive, and that's exactly what happened in this here particular game. So when you've got Torrey Smith, you've got to be able to find a route, something in the passing tree to get him open. He doesn't say a whole lot. He doesn't, get out there like a Terrell Owens and say, hey, get me the ball. But at some point, he's the man in that receiving corps. He's got to say something, in my opinion. I know he's respectful. He doesn't want to disrespect anybody. But that offense that Chip Kelly has there, he's got to find a way to get it into, that big playmaker who's getting paid big time money, got to find a way to get the ball in his hands and say, hey, make a play for us, and that's not happening right now.
Yep, and then the other thing is this is a big golden opportunity for Quentin Patton to step up, and unfortunately, we saw a time where he had the ball in his hands on a key third down, and just batted it straight up in the air. Just knocked it down. I don't think that one was intercepted, but I think it was a third down where he had it in his hands. It looked like a good catch, and he just dropped it. And we've been waiting since his rookie year was 13. Been waiting a few years now. He's had opportunities, and it just isn't materializing. And then they signed a receiver that was playing on New England, Martin, and they tried to get him into the return game and stuff. And I think he's kind of a deep threat. So they're trying. You can tell they're trying to do something to put some life into this receiving core, but yeah, it just wasn't working on Sunday.
At the end of the day, when it's not working, whether it's Gabbert, or whether it's the receiving core, and this is just my assessment, you've got to do something to shake it up.
Yeah.
And, whether it's Ponder or whether it's Kaepernick, that quarterback position can be a lightning bolt to get things going. And I think that's what they're going to have to do. I felt really good about Gabbert. But for some reason, I see, he's becoming stymied right now, regardless of what the causes are. But when I look back and I see what I love Ponder, he's my FSU guy. But when I see this system Chip Kelly has, and what I see Kaepernick, who is not that far removed from being in a Harbaugh system that really looked like a Chip Kelly system, at what point are you going to give him a chance to create something different within this offense to ignite something to get this offense going? So I don't know if that's in the plans, but if he's on the roster, and he's getting paid, regardless of all this side distractions that people think are going on. At the end of the day, if he can play, put him in and see if that is what the team needs to, get this thing going, because, the 49er Nation, 49er Empire, at some point they're going to start to rebel, especially if they keep losing the way that they're losing, and and there's nothing happening. So that's just my opinion, but something's got to happen here very soon.
Well, you bring up an interesting point. By the time they got up pretty far, and I'm trying to remember exactly what point, the game is definitely out of reach. I mean, a lot of fans would say, "Well, it was over once I got up 14-0." I mean, that sounds nice. That's the easy thing to say, but you're one score away from getting back in the game. So, but once you're up 31-10 or whatever, I don't see why you don't make a change, even a little before that. Whether or not the coaching staff has said even today that Blaine Gabbert is out playing Kaepernick in practice. They've said that they just don't feel like he's healthy enough to get out there. Well, okay, whatever it is, if it's not Kaepernick, then put Christian Ponder in the game. Give him a chance to see what he can do. And if Kaepernick is ready, then put Kaepernick in the game. At some point, you can't just leave him out there to just keep doing the same thing over and over. You've got to give your team a chance, like you said, to infuse something into the offense, to make a change you just don't know what kind of a spark that could bring.
Right, because, Seattle's offense, Russell Wilson was just doing, in that passing game was going, finding those holes in the defense, and you saw what the running game did as they were thrashing the 49er defense that we really felt good about. Either they had a bad day or Seattle just scorched them really, really bad. But in order to keep up with a team like Seattle, you got to create some type of way to create scoring opportunities, and that's not what's happening, And as we're talking about, whether, we're not there in practice. So if Gabbert is the best that they've got, then you know what? They're just going to continue to get outscored because there's nothing happening within the offensive system. The defense is they're getting scorched, but at least against Seattle. And if the offense don't find something to, score points and keep up, the defense is going to keep being put in a difficult situation to try to hold these high-powered offenses down.
Yeah, exactly. You got to have you got to make a change at some point. The thing that's real tough is 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, and a 4-yard pass. I mean, it's hard to watch punt after punt after punt. You got to do something different. I mean, I'm not a coach, so I'm not saying that I know more than Chip Kelly or anything like that. But just at some point, you got to believe that you have to make some kind of a change. So we'll see what happens in the coming week. I don't think the sky is falling yet. A lot of people think the sky is falling. But,
right.
There's still opportunity to get a lot of good out of this season. And I want to talk about just a couple of the positives that I did see on Sunday. The first thing, Trent Brown, right tackle, 6'8", 7th-round pick last year. He looks like he is not only a keeper, he looks like he is going to be an all-pro soon. He manhandled Michael Bennett. You don't just manhandle Michael Bennett. He looks really, really good out there at right tackle. He looks like that position is going to be just fine. I can see why Anthony Davis, who recently retired, I think it was that concussion he suffered before the Rams game. So he just feels like I can't do this. So Anthony Davis retired, but one of the things he said was Trent Brown the Niners are in good hands with Trent Brown.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that some people may forget that was even happening. That Davis went through that transition again. And we were talking about the continuity of that offensive line and how well they were doing and how well they were going to be going into the future. Then all of a sudden, Davis gets that concussion and he's gone. So they brace up that continuity, but then it gives a young player, the opportunity to solidify himself. But still, they got to gel together and try to pick up, where they left off. So they still got a lot of good young talent, but you can have great talent, but if you don't have that key position, because that one player on offense at quarterback that they truly believe in, trust in, that can make plays and that can even throw the ball down the field like Seattle and Russell Wilson did at times, just throw it up in the double coverage, and you know what? They go up and get it. Because they gave their receiver a chance to get the ball. That one guy, can inspire an entire team. Look at Philadelphia Eagles, rookie quarterback, how he's doing. So, man, does the 49ers have that guy on their roster? Do they have that guy that, because I don't think Gabbert at the end of the day is going to be the guy. So, are we going to get through a 500 season that way? Or, is there still enough time, for that line and everybody to gel together good enough to come and make up for the lackluster, I guess, no offense to anybody, but that lackluster talent or productivity at the quarterback position.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it looks like the 49ers have 3 backup quarterbacks at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think they all have starting potential. If some things go right, for sure Kaepernick, I think Kaepernick's the most talented of the bunch. Gabbert might see the field best out of everybody, but he's just so inconsistent. It's hard to imagine him being the guy going forward. like you were saying, the guy that you can count on to make big play after big play to get the offense going. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to be in store for him, but we're going to have to see as we switch over to preview the Dallas game. And right before that, the other positive I want to bring up is DeForest Buckner is quietly the number one rated rookie on a defensive line. He's playing very, very well. And as Eric Armstead continues to get healthy, these two guys are going to be cornerstones of the future. I really like these draft picks. And, you know, on paper, the defense is pretty well put together. They just did not have a good day on Sunday. So we'll see if they can rebound against the Cowboys this Sunday.
Yeah, and, you know, you pointed out, you know, in previous shows, you know, the talent that sits on that defense, that very young talent. So they made some great choices and decisions on those, young guys. And they are going to be great players. You know, I think when a defense it doesn't have an offense that can score, you know, enough points to stick with the offense of opposing teams, you know, the defense is going to get a little frustrated. You know, you just hope that they can continue just to get stronger, get better, and gel together as a team. And at this point, they're going to have to hopefully hold teams under 2 scores to have a chance, you know, to win. Is that going to happen? I'm not really sure. But I do know as time passes, this defense is surely working towards being a great defense in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I think this defense has the potential to be one of the better defenses in football. You know, as we move to the Dallas game, this is one of those things where I think that the offense should be able to put up some points this week. And this is where if Blaine Gabbert cannot get it done against Dallas, Dallas has defensive players suspended. They have an injury to their offensive line. Des Bryant is probably going to miss 3 games. They're at home. Now, I'll give you, you know, in Carolina and in Seattle against those defenses, that's going to be tough on a young offense. No doubt. Not going to make excuses, but I can understand that a little bit better. If they don't play better this week, I think there's definitely cause for concern. So the hope is that this week the offensive line can take control of the line of scrimmage, create some running lanes for Carlos Hyde and Sean Drone, and then the passing game has to show some kind of life. This is not the Seattle defense. This is not the Carolina defense. This is not. This is a young Dallas team that's trying to find itself with a rookie quarterback, a rookie running back. There's every opportunity here to take advantage and re-energize your team.
You know, and that sounds all good, but as I sat there and watched Dallas in the last couple of weeks, and yes, Des Brown is out, but what this rookie quarterback
he is good.
Prescott is doing is remarkable, in my opinion. I really think the writing's on the wall for Tony Romo. Now, yeah, Tony Romo has been injured the last few years. You know, I think his back is so bad. Really, he needs to consider retiring seriously. But when he did come back from those injuries, Dallas was a better ball club. That's the only thing that's keeping Tony Romo alive right now. But if this young quarterback continues progressing the way that he is the future for this team. I mean, you could see the team, the excitement around him, and they really play well around him. Now, Des White's hurt this week, and you know, but they've got the slot receiver that is really, really playing well too. And then, you know, Ezekiel Elliott is playing well at running back. And even with the one injury, you know, on the line, they still are being productive. So, yeah, definitely, probably the best line in the league. So, I think the 49ers are gonna. Wow, man, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. I would love to see Dallas come in and lose, but the road that they're on, I tell you what, Prescott isn't disappointing right now. And if you ask Jerry Jones feel like with or without Dez Bryant this week that Prescott could lead that team to a win. So it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, no doubt. This is not going to be, in any circumstances, this is not going to be, if the 49ers were to pull out a win, they're not going to win by double digits. I don't believe that at all. The thing that tells me that they have a chance in this game is Dallas won against the worst team in football last week, the Chicago Bears. They're worse than any team right now. Mm-hmm. And they lost to the Giants. And I don't remember who they won in their first game. I think it was over Washington. My point is they're not beating world-class teams here. They're beating teams that are also struggling. What I see in Dallas is I see a lot of talent. Dak Prescott looks really good. He's a good quarterback. Ezekiel Elliott, he's going to be their running back of the future. He looks really good right now too. They just, to me, look like they have the propensity to also have some inconsistencies. And if the 49ers defense can play better, I think they can limit their points. And I don't think there's a lot on Dallas's defense. I think there will be opportunities to score. I could see a 17-13 win by the 49ers. But I could also see a loss, but I'm calling a win this week. They got to play better this week. Their backs against the wall. They have to play better.
And I agree with you from that perspective. But Prescott has shown me too much at the most important key position on a football team. And I don't think all of a sudden he's going to start faltering. What I see in him is a young man that's a student of the game, that is poised in that pocket, steps up, slides. He's got a good feel around him of, where to move. And he's smart with the ball, protects the ball, and he's only getting better. And he's fitting that Dallas offense perfectly with the people around him. So I do think that 49ers defense will play better, but I still think Prescott is gonna stay on the line that he's on and gonna really play well.
Yeah, there's definitely every reason to believe that as well. I could see this game. To me, this game really could go either way. I could see Prescott playing well enough to get the Cowboys out into a 2-score lead where maybe the Niners cut that back to 1 score, but maybe not have enough to overcome. But I could also see them playing inspired ball at home and forcing a rookie quarterback into a couple mistakes. I mean, he's played well, but he hasn't been lighting it up either. He's had some trouble. But what I really like about Dak Prescott is his ability to scramble. He seems also very aware. His pocket presence seems very good. And that definitely is going to be tough for the 49ers, because if he's able to extend the play, they still do have some receivers that can disrupt things. So obviously this is going to be a tough game. If the Niners win, it's going to take the whole team to play well.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Dallas on this one this week, just because other than the other rookie or not, the 2 rookies in the league are probably playing the best football out of anybody, and I just don't see it slacking up this week. Prescott, is going to play well, and he's going to have that offense for Dallas, rolling, regardless of how well the defense plays, which I hope they play extremely well. But nonetheless, Dallas, unfortunately, for the 49ers, are going to go into, Santa Clara and probably leave with a win.
Yeah, I can understand that, and I know we both hope you're wrong. So it's not like you're cheering for them.
Correct. So. Absolutely. Let's get that straight. Let's get that straight, Empire. But we're analysts, and we have to go on factual information.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that viewpoint, and it's certainly not just possible, but even probable that happens. I can definitely see that happening. So hopefully we'll have a good game, but we're kind of prepared for the worst as well. So I guess we'll just kind of have to see how it all shakes out. But in any case, I do believe it'll be a good football game. I really don't see another 21-point loss in this game. I really hope I'm correct on that.
I don't see that. Like you said, Dallas hadn't been just lighting up the scoreboard. It's just the fact that, offensively, Prescott's just been very exciting and consistent.
Fun to watch.
And been more than what people thought. Nobody thought he would play that well and command, the attention that he's commanding. So that's been really surprising, but it's been a pleasant surprise for Dallas, and where this team is going.
Absolutely. So at any rate, we think it'll be a good game, and we know that Prescott is fun to watch. But here's something I think we can both agree on for sure: if Blaine Gabbert has a bad first half and they're down, especially if they're down like 10, I think they got to make a change at quarterback for the second half.
It's going to be interesting to see if they pull the trigger. I'm not sure they'll do it that early, but if they do, I'm very interested to see who they'll go with.
Yeah. I just don't. I mean, especially if it's just punt after punt after punt, you got to make a change. I think you got to give somebody a chance. And I don't know. That's just my gut feeling on it. You got to put Kaepernick or Ponder in there to see if you can put a spark in this offense.
Yeah, I think Cap will be a gamer. I really do. I do think time is winding down, for him, to get his opportunity, to be a 49er. It's either going to have to happen very soon, him getting the opportunity, or he's going to have to reignite his his career, with another team. So I'm hoping he can reignite it with the 49ers and bring back the memories of he's still a young kid, young man, and still got those lively legs, and he still got a live arm, whether it's the system or whether it's him, it was just a quick descend on what he was with Harbaugh. Man, he was special whenever he had it going.
Yeah, there was definitely that window in time there where it looked like not only was he going to lead them to the top, but he's going to be there a while. It looked like we were going to have 5, 6, 7 years of really, really, really good football where the 49ers are going to be contending each year. And it just didn't work. It just didn't happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where we're at with it. So we think we'll see a good game. And you've heard kind of our prediction, our take on the game. So be sure to watch the game on Sunday and then to tune in next week. Next week we will be on the 49ers podcast in the Bay Area with Brian Bauer on 49ers Radio. And then we won't have our own show, but we'll be guests on another show, so we'll be posting that next week. So be sure to listen to that, and we'll see what happens. The season's not over yet, but I think some things have got to happen for it to look more positive than it is right now. So you got any final thoughts for tonight?
No, just stay faithful, and hey, keep believing in the 49ers, and and things will eventually get straightened out here, and make it worth your while watching the team, but no, that's about it. Just gotta get some solidification there at quarterback, and if we do that, I think everything else will follow.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. So be sure to check out our shows for next week, and follow us on thegruelingtruth.net, also at the NinerEmpire.net. And so for Dexter Carter, I'm Matt Andruscavage. You've been listening to the 49ers Weekly Show on the Grueling Truth Radio Network, where the legends speak.